Hello, today we're going to make meal prepped overnight oats. I'm going to show you 4 different flavor combinations, and I'll also go over a few of the things that I like to add into them. We start off each of the 4 flavors with a base of 1/3 of a cup of Old Fashioned Oats. I put those in a nice sealable container. Then from there I add some of our nutritional add-ins. I have flaxseed, milled flaxseed. I have chia seed. Then in the past I've made a mistake and bought some steel cut oats, so I add a little bit of steel cut oats to them for 2 reasons. 1, to use them up, and 2, to add a little bit more texture to the oatmeal. And I also like to add almonds to all the different flavors. It also gives you a little bit of a texture, and as we all know, almonds are heart healthy. Then I also add some raw unfiltered honey for the sweetness. We do add dried fruit, and that adds some sweetness, but I like to add just a little bit more honey. The chia seed, I add not quite a full teaspoon of chia seed, and I'll do that to each of these. Flaxseed, I will add a kind of like a heaping teaspoon. The sliced almonds, I add a pinch of. And all of the ingredients that I've shown so far, other than the Old Fashioned Oats, are optional. So you only need really 3 things. You need Old Fashioned Oats, your liquid, which is typically milk, and then whatever flavoring that you want. So you could have dried fruit, fresh fruit. Everything else is kind of optional. Alright, for the steel cut oats, I add about a teaspoon of those to add a little bit of texture. Okay, now that I have the base made for these meal prep overnight oatmeals, and once again the base consists of 1/3 cup of Old Fashioned Oats, a teaspoon of flax, a teaspoon or less of chia seed, a teaspoon of the steel cut oats, and then a pinch of sliced almonds. I have that in all 4 of the bases, and then I'm going to start flavoring them, and we will also set those aside. So for the first one, I'm going to use dried apples, and the reason why I do dried fruit instead of fresh fruit is because, as I mentioned, I meal prep these, so I do them on Sunday night, and I make them for the whole week, and the fresh fruit just doesn't last, sitting out for the whole week. Y'all might also ask why I'm using 4 containers. I'm lucky and I get to mobile work or work from home 1 day a week, and therefore I only need meals for 4 days. Okay, so the different flavorings I'm going to use are sliced dried apples, sliced strawberries. I have dried berries and like raisins, and there's cherries, and there's cranberries, goji berries, there's acai berries, there's lots of different things in here. And then the last one is dried mango. Okay, for these I don't use a whole lot. I just put in a few pieces. I think that's probably enough right there. what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apple slices. Then a good pinch of the strawberries. Usually the way I look at it is I try and roughly cover the top of the oatmeal. Grab a handful of these. I actually like these, so I usually add a little bit extra to this. Alright, maybe a little bit more. This is all optional, and you can adjust all these quantities to your liking. If you don't like chia seeds, you can leave those out. If you really enjoy mango, you can add more mango to it. One thing that I would caution you with is you may want to test out your dried fruit, because some dried fruit, say like dried bananas, when you soak them overnight to soften the oatmeal, the bananas will actually turn brown. All the ones I have here, they do very well once you add the liquid, and they're also, you know, semi shelf stable for the week anyways on the countertop, where they're not going to go bad. At this point is where I would typically put the lids on, and I don't add any liquids to them when I'm storing them. Then let me clean this up, and then we'll go over adding the honey and the liquid in the next step. Okay, now that we have all of our oatmeals meal prepped, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I would do the night prior. So what I would do is typically that's when I add the liquids, so I'll add a little bit of honey for flavoring.
A little bit of sweetness. That's probably plenty.
And then I will add the liquid. In this case, I'm using almond milk. Okay, after I add the almond milk, I usually fill that up just enough to cover the fruit. In these containers that I have, there's like a little line halfway up. I don't know if you can see that. Or maybe I can show you on one of these. There's a line that goes like halfway up the container. I usually fill it up to about there. And then I also mix it around to make sure that it's not, you know, so the moisture is evenly distributed and it's not all sticking together too bad. Alright. I like to make sure that the larger pieces of fruit are submerged, so that helps rehydrate them and make them nice and yummy in the morning. And then get all that stuff off the spoon. At that point, you put the lid on and you put it in the refrigerator overnight. It can be done for as little as 1 to 2 hours, but I prefer doing it overnight. Like I said, it's, you know, after I cook dinner and then I wash the dishes, I will typically then add the liquids to my oatmeal, and then I can relax for the evening. In the morning, I can grab this, a piece of fresh fruit, and my morning beverage, and head out the door. A couple of tips that I would like to give you is two things. One, I see a lot of videos, people doing them in mason jars, and at first I thought this would be kind of neat to use mason jars, but I found that it's hard. If you put all the good stuff on the top, you tend to eat all the good stuff before you get to the bottom with the oatmeal. Not saying that the oatmeal is bad, it's just I like to mix it up. That's why I use these shallower, wider opening containers, so you get an even bite each time. You get a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of fruit. The other thing is make sure when you're at the store that you slow down to purchase your oats. In my haste in the past, I have grabbed steel cut oats, and I will show a picture. This is steel cut oats. The steel cut oats, they're rounder, smaller little pieces that are harder. They're good texture, but if you make the whole overnight oats with those, that it's not as enjoyable to me. I prefer the Old Fashioned Oats, which are the large, spread out flat pieces of oats, kind of like your typical oatmeal that you'd see like in an oatmeal cookie, and they absorb the liquid very evenly and become a nice even texture. They're the choice to go with. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below, like the video, and if you feel it's worth it, subscribe to the channel. I do have other videos. I'm willing to take suggestions. I'm actually really excited to hear suggestions and other videos you might like to see, or if you have any questions on any of the stuff we went over today. So please subscribe to the channel and have a wonderful day. Thank you.